Hello people and welcome to the Counterfactual Stories YouTube channel. In today's episode we will talk about a Sunni Islamist militant group or Al-Qaeda in Lebanon, and it's called Abdullah Azzam Brigades. But before we start, don't forget to press subscribe button. Abdullah Azzam Brigades, named after the late Abdullah Yusuf Azzam, a Palestinian from Jordan and a well-known preacher and organizer who was among the first Arabs to volunteer to join the Afghan Jihad against the forces of the then Soviet Union in Afghanistan in the 1980s. Some other non-related terrorist organizations have been known to use the name Abdullah Azzam Brigades as a name on convenience for their operations. After grave injuries Al-Qurawi received as a result of drone attack in Pakistan and his eventual capture upon the return to Saudi Arabia by Saudi authorities, the leadership of the Abdullah Azzam Brigades was assumed by Majid al-Majid, a Saudi affiliated with Fatah al-Islam and Al-Qaeda. Al-Majid was declared the leader and emir of the Abdullah Aziz Brigades in June 2012 until his capture by Lebanese authorities on December 27, 2013 and eventual death from the kidney failure on January 4, 2014. Al-Majid was succeeded by the Sirajuddin Zureykat. The Abdullah Azzam Brigades was formed by the Saudi national Saleh al-Qurawi in 2009 as one offshoot of Al-Qaeda in Iraq and was tasked with hitting targets in the Levant and throughout the Middle East. Qurawi is a Saudi citizen and is one of the list of the 85 most wanted terrorists that was issued by the Saudi Interior Ministry in 2009. The group formally announced its establishment in July 2009 with a statement claiming responsibility for the February 2009 rocket attack against Israel. After attacks by Ziyad al-Jarrah Battalion, a Lebanese affiliated of the Abdullah Azzam Brigades, a communique was released clarifying that the brigades operated on a wider scale. The communique said the Abdullah Azzam Brigades are not confined to Lebanon, but there are targets that our fires will reach, Allah willing, in the near future. The brigades are formed of a number of groups that are spread in numerous places, and the groups of Ziyad al-Jarrah in Lebanon are only some of our groups, and we rushed to create these groups and announced them because of the urgency of the battle with Jews and the priority of initiative at the time and the place, but the rest of the groups are outside Lebanon. In an interview to Al Jazeera in August 2010, a Yemeni expert on Islamic movements asserted that although violent acts had been claimed by groups using Abdullah Azzam in their name, it was only in 2009, after the Gaza war, that the Abdullah Azzam Brigades organization was established. The Abdullah Azzam Brigades has branches active in multiple countries. The Lebanese branch has used the name the Ziyad al-Jarrah Battalion, and it's named after Lebanese 9/11 hijacker Ziyad al-Jarrah, who participated in the hijacking and crash of United Flight 93. The Abdullah Azzam Brigades branch in the Arabian Peninsula calls itself the Yusuf al-Uyayri Battalions, named after Yusuf al-Uyayri, the slain founder of Al-Qaeda in Saudi Arabia. The Gaza Strip, the group had used the name Marwan Haddad Division of the Abdullah Azzam Brigades in the Levant. On April 10, 2011, a Gazan group claimed responsibility for firing Grad missile at the Israeli city of Ashkelon and two other projects at the Zikim military base. The group said in the statement that operations will continue until the Palestinian land is liberated and Tawhid flag is raised. The group has used a number of aliases including Martyr Abdullah Azzam Brigades, Abdullah Azzam Shahid Brigades, Khatib Shuhada Abdullah Azzam, Al-Qaeda in Lebanon, Abdullah Azzam Brigades in the land of Al-Sham, Al-Qaeda in the Levant, Al-Qaeda in the Levant and Egypt, Al-Qaeda in Syria and Egypt. Al-Qaeda organization, the land of Al-Sham and Al-Kanah, Tanzim Al-Qaeda fi Bilad Al-Sham wa Ard Al-Kinah, the Harakat Shabab Al-Mujahideen. I hope I pronounced this correctly because my Arab is not so strong. The name has been used by other non-related organizations as a name of convenience in the number of operations in the various countries. Even prior to the actual formation of the organization in 2009, a group calling itself Abdullah Azzam Brigades carried out devastating attacks in 2004 in the Sinai bombing and in 2005 in Sharm el-Sheikh bombings. On October 7, 2004, the Sinai Peninsula Egyptian resort of Taba was subject of 3 terrorist attacks targeting a hotel and 2 tourist campsites. The Hilton Taba bombing killed 31 people and wounded some 159 others. 10 floors of the hotel collapsed following the blast. The 2 campsites used by Israelis at Ras al-Shitan near Nuwelba were also attacked, killing 2 Israelis and an Egyptian. 12 others were wounded. The bombings were claimed by an unknown group called Abdullah Azzam Brigades. According to Egyptian authorities, this was a cover to the mastermind behind the bombing, the Palestinian Iyad Saleh. He and one of his aides, Suleiman Ahmed Saleh Flyfield, died in the Hilton blast, apparently because their bomb timer had run out too fast. The Egyptians, Yunus Mohammed Mahmoud, Osama al-Nakhlawi, and Mohammed Jez Sabah were sentenced to the death in November 2006 for their roles in the blast. According to investigators, there was no strong link to Al-Qaeda in the blast. On July 23, 2005, the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh was subject to a series of bombings, killing 88 people, the majority of them Egyptians, and over 200 wounded, making it the deadliest terrorist action in Egypt's modern history. A group calling itself the Abdullah Azzam Brigades was the first to claim responsibility for the attack. On a website, the group stated that holy warriors targeted the Ghazala Gardens Hotel and the Old Market in Sharm el-Sheikh and claimed it has ties to Al-Qaeda. The Egyptian government said that the bombers were actually Bedouin militants from the same group that carried out the Taba bombings a year earlier. Arrested suspects claimed to have been motivated by the war in Iraq. In 2005, again much earlier than the official formation of the organization, its name appeared in relation to a series of rocket attacks from Jordan. Several Katyusha rockets were fired from within the Jordanian territory, some hitting near the Eilat airport and 2 others hitting very close to the 2 United States Navy ships docked in Aqaba. The USS Kearsarge and the USS Asland, a group linked with Al-Qaeda, claimed to have made that attack. One of the rockets hit a Jordanian military hospital, killing a Jordanian soldier. The attack is regarded as having been participated by the Air Art Zarqawi branch of Al-Qaeda. A self-styled Abdullah Aziz Brigades also claimed responsibility. A little-known Pakistani militant group, Fadayin al-Islam, affiliated with Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, claimed responsibility for the Pearl Continental Hotel bombing in Peshawar, Pakistan. A spokesman for the group, Amir Muawiyah, phoned media organizations claiming responsibility for the attack and promised more attacks were on the way. He further stated that the bombing was a retaliation for Pakistani army operations in Swat and Malakand division of the Northwest Frontier Province and the tribal areas of Dara Adankel and Orakzai Agency. However, on June 11, 2009, a previously unknown group selling itself the Abdullah Azzam Shahid Brigade claimed responsibility for the attack, saying the attack was in response to attacks by Pakistani military forces on Taliban insurgents in the Swat Valley. On December 8, the head of the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, Zartif Khan Afridi, was shot dead by armed militants in Jamrud, Khyber. The Abdullah Azzam Brigade claimed the murder. On February 24, 2012, this alleged group equipped with suicide bombers blew themselves up in an attack on a police station, C Division, in the heart of Peshawar. According to witnesses, total attackers were more than 10, armed with hand grenades and automatic weaponry with latest technology that had never been used before. 2 Pakistani policemen were killed and 6 others injured. The Abdullah Azzam Brigade claimed responsibility for the attack. Spokesman Abu Zarar Saeed, speaking from an unknown location, said that the attack was reaction to the killing of a top militant leader, Badar Mansour, in a drone strike in Waziristan. Months later, militants ambushed a North Atlantic Treaty Organization supply truck in Jamrud. The driver was killed and 1 other civilian was injured in attack. The Abdullah Azzam Brigades claimed responsibility for the attack, threatening more attacks on drivers who provided supplies to NATO. Months later, militants ambushed a North Treaty Organization supply truck in Jamrud. The driver was killed and the other was also injured in attack. On January 16, explosive device blasts at the Hasadar forces checkpoint in the Sadokhel area. That was federal administrative tribal areas in Pakistan. At least 1 Hasadar officer was killed and another wounded, and the Abdullah Azzam Brigades claimed responsibility for the attack once again. There are also other operations claimed by the brigades, but strong doubts whether they were actually involved. For example, on August 3, 2010, a man claimed to be a spokesman of the brigade made a video statement that the brigades were involved in an attack on the Japanese oil tanker M-Star in the Strait of Hormuz in July 2010. But many analysts are skeptical about the claim that it was Abdullah Azzam Brigades. A BBC correspondent asserted that the perpetrators were using the name as a name of convenience. The group denied all involvement in the December 23, 2011 suicide attack in the Syrian capital that killed 40 people. The terror group accused by the Syrian government of attempting to deflect attention from its brutal crackdown on protesters that has killed more than 5,000 people. In a statement released on the jihadist website on December 27, 2011, the Abdullah Azzam Brigade denied responsibility for the suicide attacks. In a statement issued by the group's Emir, Majid bin Muhammad al-Majid, in June 2012, the group acknowledged its fight against the forces of President Bashar al-Assad in the Syrian civil war. Majid recommended that the rebels avoid use of car bombs and bomb belts inside cities for fear of harming and alienating Syrian civilians. This advice is a contrast to the actions of another Salafist jihadist group active in the Syrian civil war, a very famous Al-Nusra Front. An improvised device blast outside of the Fakhreddin army barracks in Beirut, leaving 1 soldier wounded. A man claiming to be a member of Al-Qaeda called the Lebanese newspaper Al-Balad and claimed responsibility for the attack before and after the blasts. During 2013, the group started a string of attacks in 2013. On November 19, the brigade claimed responsibility for a double suicide bombing outside the Iranian embassy in Beirut, which killed at least 23 people and wounded over 140. The group said the bombing was a retaliation for Iranian support of Hezbollah, which fights on the Syrian government side and in the current Syrian civil war, and warned the future attacks should Iran's government not acquiesce. On December 23rd, the Abdullah Azzam Brigades claimed a rocket attack on Hamel, Lebanon. During the first weeks of 2014, Abdullah Azzam claimed a string of rocket attacks in the south of Lebanon. On February 19, 2014, the brigade carried out an attack on the Iranian Cultural Center in Beirut's southern suburb of Bir Hassan, killing 11 and wounding 130. Their motive was the support of Iran in the Syrian war. 3 days later, a car bomb blast at Lebanese army checkpoint on Al-Asi Bridge at the entrance to Hamel City, Bekaa Governorate. In addition to the bomber, 2 soldiers and 1 civilian were killed and at least 15 people were wounded. The authorities blamed the Abdullah Azzam Brigades or al-Nusra Front for the attack. After this attack, the group continued with its rocket attacks against Israeli cities. On December 27, 2013, Lebanese authorities captured Majid bin Mohammed al-Majid, the Saudi leader of the group. Al-Majid had undergone kidney treatment at the Makadesh hospital in Beirut. The hospital had released him and he had reportedly hidden in a Palestinian refugee camp of Ain al-Hilwa near Saida. He allegedly tried to move elsewhere for more medical treatment but was captured by the Lebanese army on the Beirut-Damascus highway. On January 3, 2014, DNA test confirmed that the man detained by Lebanese army intelligence is Majid al-Majid, the chief of Abdullah Azzam Brigades. The DNA samples belonging to relatives of Majid in Saudi Arabia matched those of the suspect who remained in the custody of Lebanese armed force, Lebanon's state national news agency reported. On January 4, Majid died of kidney failure in the military hospital in Beirut. The Abdullah Azzam Brigades has been designated as a terrorist organization by the United Nations, by Bahrain, Iraq, New Zealand, UAE, the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, and Israel. I hope you liked this episode. Don't forget to press subscribe button and see you soon. Bye.